afternoon. The purpose of this narrative speech is to talk about significant moments that have taught us valuable life lessons. Well, when I was in high school, my goal was to attend the University of Texas at Austin. And I had good grades and a good GPA, and after applying to the university, I was accepted and I was able to go there on scholarships and grants. But as school started and I was living on my own, I realized that college was nothing like high school or anything I had ever experienced before in school. The workload was harder, it was more intense, and the studying and all the assignments and then the work was more than I was prepared for. So I started feeling very overwhelmed, and I was away from home and I was away from family, so I also started feeling depressed. And by the time I finished my freshman year, I decided that as an English major, I just didn't know if I wanted to continue that. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher, but I didn't know what else I wanted to do with my life. So I decided at that point that I wanted to take a year off school and just try and figure out what I wanted to do with my life. When the year was over, after I took that year, I decided to go back to school. So I first enrolled at Austin Community College, and I took one of the business courses, and I realized that I really did like the idea of pursuing something in business administration. But then I had to move back to Laredo, so I enrolled at LCC, and I started taking accounting courses, which I immediately fell in love with. This time, though, it was harder to be a student because I had to pay for tuition and books all on my own since I didn't qualify for financial aid. I was also working full-time because I was helping my husband pay for a mortgage. So it was at this point that I realized my first valuable lesson, which was that I shouldn't have wasted that scholarships and grants that I had from the University of Texas. That had I stuck with it and had I not dropped out of school, I would have had my school paid for. But I made the wrong decisions and I was learning my lesson. So at this time, my husband got offered a job away from Laredo and we had to move. And I was pregnant at this time and I wanted to focus on being a mom. So I took a couple of years off from pursuing or going back to school. And it wasn't until last year when I had my accident that I realized that if this accident happened to me, it could also happen to my husband. And if something were to happen to him, that he would not be able to work and support our family, then the responsibility of providing for my children would fall on me. And without a degree, without an education, there isn't a secure way that I could financially provide. And this taught me this most valuable lesson, which was that I shouldn't have wasted all that time, and I should have just stuck with school, even if it was difficult, because life can change in the blink of an eye, and if you're not ready for it, it doesn't matter whatever your situation is. So to conclude, what I take from this is that everything we do has consequences, and Life teaches us lessons one way or the other, good or bad, and it's up to us to learn from those lessons. And we either do our best or we ignore the lessons that we're taught. But I am definitely, I have learned my lesson this time around, and I am excited to be a student once again. And I've made the promise to myself that this time around I will continue and I will accomplish my goal to finally stick with school and get my education and obtain my degree.